Yeah, corn organic, like their beer.
Yes, like their
This
beer.
episode has been sponsored by Portland Brewery, and we're still waiting for the free beer.
Yeah, exactly. Please send us beer.
It's showtime, folks.
Hey, hello everybody and into the music world. Welcome back to another episode. I'm Andy, that fellow over there is John, and we get together along with Greg very often and talk about music. In particular, songs that we enjoy, and we bounce them off one another and we get reactions and we get a discussion thereafter. So, all the formalities being out of the way, John, I have got a tune for you, sir. Are you in the mood?
Yes. As
Excellent.
Tina Charles would, no, as the Nolan sisters would say, I'm in the mood for dancing, romancing, giving it all away. Thankfully, that song has probably passed you by in the USA, and you're very lucky.
But I feel so lucky if that's the mood you're in, and so should our audience. So I've got a band that I'm 99.9% sure you've never heard of before. It's a band called Rare Monk.
No, I like my monks medium rare. Sorry.
Me too. If the monk's still mooing, I don't want anything to do with it. So the song is called Megiddo's Fire. And does that ring a bell in any way, shape, or form? I highly doubt it does.
Any relation to St. Elmo, or is it one of the hobbits?
I can safely say it's neither of those two things.
Oh, cool. No,
so you're
bells
really
are being
blind.
rung. I am clapperless in the bell department.
Well, go give it a listen, come back and tell me what you thought of the experience. Cool.
Really nice start. The drums and the bass. That's instant groove. Really catchy. And then the keys. Kind of new wavy a little bit. But yeah, interesting start. Sounds quite 1980s. Yeah, hang on a minute. All of a sudden, it goes into Modest Mouse. It can't be. It sounds a lot like one of their up-tempo groovy numbers. Wow, that sounds a lot like Modest Mouse. Cool. I really took me by surprise.
It's just geographic borders, feudal triviality. People of the present, we must believe there's alternatives to burning ourselves with idiocy. 'Cause if we can't dance, then we can't convert ourselves now. 'Cause time of wasting minds will drive me near a war zone. Dance like a hurricane until the bombs fall. Dance like a locust thing until those lights go out. Separate over the sea storm. For horse and gillet, we devise our own mark on the beat. Yeah, Christians shall be shivered 'cause we devise our own mark of the beat. And when you feel us be shivered, yeah, 'cause we devise our own mark of the beat.
Wow, that 3:30 seemed really short, really quick. To my surprise. Cool. Back to Andy.
Hello, sir. You've returned. So, what did you think of Megiddo's Fire and Rare Monk?
Interesting. Yeah, it's really nice start with the drum and the bass. It's like instant groove. I thought, this is good straight away. And then it's that kind of new wave revival sort of keys over the top.
Yeah.
Then the singer kicks in, and his voice was almost a sort of mid-late 80s approximation. I mean, if you told me, I don't believe 1 second it is, but if you told me this came out in 1986, I would not be surprised. And then we hit the chorus and bang, holy shit, I've been listening to Modest Mouse and I didn't realize it all this time. I mean, it is so Modest Mouse, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, which is great. He even had that, he changed voices from that sort of start to then bang into it. And even that affectation that I've never remember the name of the chap.
Isaac Brock, and I know you're exactly right. They're the same thing where he lets his voice kind of fly by the seat of its pants sometimes.
Yeah. So the chorus, a lovely guitar that was really gritty. Wasn't 100% sure about the falsetto. I'm remain to be convinced, but I'm not saying I hated it either. Just that. And then there's some synth noodling, which I really, really liked. In the verses, I heard, and I don't know if it's because I wanted to hear, if they really existed, but I'm sure there was touches of brass in there, really low in the mix. I'm sure I could hear it.
Yeah.
And then after the second chorus, there was this breakdown. And for a very short time, there was this really, really nice echoing guitar as well. And then it came back into the standard sort of that gritty, dirty guitar, which took us out. I didn't really catch any of the lyrics. There was like odd words here and there, and I wrote them down and I can barely read them. Squabbling, greed. There was something about burning ourselves and idiocy. Which gave me this overall feeling once I'd heard the chorus that it had an apocalyptic feel to it. But it was really similar to the Modest Mouse Lampshades on Fire, like, everyone's arsing around while, Rome's burning sort of thing. And that's about as much as I got from it. I liked it a lot. It was really similar to Modest Mouse. I don't want to keep banging on that comparison. And that's probably why I liked it. I would be interested to hear other stuff to then compare. you know,
Mhm.
their sound or whatever. But it was definitely had almost instant appeal to me because of that.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a really good yeah, it's a really good song.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of these guys. I found them by complete accident. Was chasing a girl in like 2013. She wanted to go to a local show where
He threw a CD of them at you to stop you.
that's what it was. She shielded me off with a vinyl, and I was like, "What's that say, Rare Monk?" No, she wanted to go see a band, and I said, "Yeah, any excuse to go see live music would be awesome. Like, let's go." And it turned out I was not very much a fan of the band that she wanted to see, but the opening act, this Rare Monk group from Portland, Oregon, home of the weird, was like really, really captivating to me, and I loved what they did. And at the time, they were a 5-man band with an electric violinist who played with them as well, and added some really, really cool different sounds that I wasn't used to hearing in rock music. Ended up talking with the guys at like the sales table for like 15 or 20 minutes, buying some of their stuff, and just went into a deep dive looking for more of their music and stuff like that. And it's so odd because this particular song isn't on any of their albums. It was on this compilation of Pacific Northwest indie artists that was put together by a local brewing company. So that's how I heard this track, and I can't find. It's like I forget the band you showed me months ago, but you couldn't find anything on them on the internet as far as lyrics and things like that pertaining to the song that we were listening to. Similar situation. I can't find shit for lyrics anywhere on the internet. I've scoured. But what I know about it is Megiddo is a place in. I don't want to argue over semantics, but then Palestine, now it's like Tel Megiddo of Israel. But it was the first battle in human history ever chronicled. So it's like several hundred years BC, this battle between like an Egyptian pharaoh and these like free states get into this battle. And it's the first one that's ever been recorded in human history. So I think what they're doing is the fire that was lit on that day in history is now the thing that burns, that we find ourselves arguing over stupid shit. We're still warring with one another. The world's still a complete, shit show. And I think that's what they were trying to tap into. And the lyrics that you cited, and if anyone in the audience were to, go back and revisit this, they would hear the lyrics in this theme constantly, reoccurring throughout the song. So I thought, oh, what a genius name for a song and sort of metaphor for the constant bickering and warring that's happened since that moment until now. Really, really cool. Really cool. So yeah, they're out of the Pacific Northwest. They're out of Oregon. They're once a 5-man band. They're now a 4-man band, and they're still putting out music together. And I don't think you're that wrong in like your synopsis of their sound. There is a little bit of almost like how you could find correlative sounds between the Smashing Pumpkins and God, why am I drawing a blank?
Silver Sun Pickups.
Yeah, Silver Sun Pickups. Oh my God, I don't know why I brain farted right there. But yeah, Silver Sun Pickups. You could probably do the same thing with Modest Mouse and Rare Monk, but they obviously have this whole other sound to them. I'm a big fan of the few albums that they've put out. From what I understand, they're still together and still kind of working on stuff. And doing their touring thing. So it's just it's funny that their name is Rare Monk, because they're rare in that I don't think they want limelight. You know what I mean? They're very happy just being this little indie project. You know what I mean? I think they're quite content having like a cult following, a niche following, and just being able to write music unencumbered by all the nonsense that kind of comes with a lot of fame. So
that's cool. I guess they're doing it because they're doing what they enjoy, because they enjoy.
Yes, they are. And whatever they do seems to get really positive write-ups. It just doesn't explode. And I don't even know if that's maybe not a controlled thing on their end. But man, it was just a fateful evening that, back in like 2013 or whatever it was, when I went out to that show with a friend, and I ended up just absolutely adoring the opening act. And yeah, now I've got a couple of their albums and I listen to them on a pretty regular rotation, and they just kind of tickle whatever it is that I fancy when it comes to music. So especially this indie. It's funny, the website that one of the few websites that I found was something on it was like they had their genre classified as indie experimental stuff. And I was like, yeah, I guess that kind of.
I think that's a genre we can all get behind. Though.
Yeah, right.
More stuff.
I love stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Experimenting's
I've
cool.
got a lot of stuff. Not enough stuff, but I've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they do clever stuff like this, right? Where like there's this. God, you're talking about
That's another genre.
You have to be a real historian to even know what Megiddo is, and so this is really cool that they tapped into that to their sound, and a lot of their stuff is kind of like holding up a mirror, not like preachy, but kind of holding up a mirror to society and writing about the woes that we're kind of encountering and going through, which fits perfectly into the whole Portland thing, you know what I mean? Because that's a whole city of people willing to call out that kind of BS. So I'm really glad you liked it, man.
Yeah. So I take it. I asked this just out of curiosity, but did you see the? The take it other songs have different sounds, but did you see the Modest Mouse comparison?
Yes. Maybe it didn't hit me as hard over the head, but particularly this song where he does the dance like a hurricane.
Exactly.
Very Isaac Brock. Like, come on, man. Like the whole like taking it to 11 out of like 5. That jump, that vocal jump, like that's something that Modest Mouse has employed a lot. I guess it would behoove me to be like, it's Dorian Yates, who's the lead vocalist, Hugh Jepson guitar, Forrest Gallion bass, and Rick Burr on the drums, and that's their current lineup. Like I said, there's been, I think it was like 2016-ish or somewhere around there. Like that's when the violinist left and their original guitarist left, so they had to replace the guitarist and just move forward, being more guitar centric and a little less experimentally with the electric violin, which they still sound great. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it was really fun when they had this like little curveball band member that nobody else kind of had going on at the time in the violinist. So, but yeah, glad you liked it. Maybe down the road, I'll throw you a little something else by them off one of their actual albums, as opposed to this crazy niche compilation album that came out brought to us by a brewery. So
don't you just love it when that happens? I mean, there used to be a sort of it used to seemingly like every other month you got freebies from magazines and music papers and all sorts, and there'd be tapes, CDs, flexi discs. Remember those? We had to put coins on them to stop them slipping. You used to get some really interesting tracks. I mean, the NME giveaway ones from the 80s are legendary, and they go for a fair amount of money on eBay, and I've got all of those ones. There was one brilliant one that had the Smiths, U2, was it Bronski beat and somebody else? I'm really missing out, but it's 4 really, really good songs, and it was like a remix of the U2 song "Why," which is fantastic, on a live version of What She Said by the Smiths. I remember that really well. And it's great when you get these little gems which aren't necessarily in with the album, and you bought the 12-inch and it's got 15 remixes and whatever, but suddenly this weird song that either hasn't appeared or a different version of it appears, free with 6 tea towels or something, and you think, oh, this is fantastic. I do like it when you stumble across stuff like that.
Yeah, I loved it because I looked at the art, and it was like Ninkasi was like one of the names in the in the name of the collective album, and I was like, well, what the hell is that? Ended up looking up what that is. That's Ninkasi is a Mesopotamian goddess of beer. So I was like, oh, that's a goddess I can get behind. Turns out that's the name of the local brewing company in Oregon that sponsored this thing, I think, and it's just really cool. It's just I love the idea of a regional business like a brewery getting together with some really cool indie artists and putting together this project, probably having a festival for it or something like that. And just cool organic stuff, you know what I mean, in the music scene. So we'll probably revisit these guys down the line, perhaps.
Cool and organic, like their beer.
Yes, like their
this
beer.
Episode has been sponsored by Portland Brewery, and we're still waiting for the free beer.
Yeah, exactly. Please send us beer. But okay, that being said, John, why don't you tie this thing up for us, buddy?
Right, thanks for that, Andy, and thanks everybody for watching Twaddle. You know the routine. Like, subscribe, drop and give me 20. Write to your mother, and we will see all of you on the next episode of Into the Music.
See you guys.